Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Diodati. Tim will be returning here. He'll be here every Thursday afternoon for the next week, folks. Come on back and see him again. I had to check my calendar to see if it was April 1st today with some of those announcements that he was making. I want a big hand for the chair of the chamber for doing a wonderful job this evening. And the word is psychology, just for the record. Those big four-syllable words. And I just want to thank our publisher for Mark Cressman for dropping off newspapers. So if you do get bored during my speech, you can read the comments. Thank you, Mark. Very good. I know they've already been acknowledged, but I do appreciate some of my colleagues being here today. Everybody's very, very busy. They've got a lot of places to be and people to see, and they made a choice to be here today. So I want to thank City Councilor Morocco, Regional Councilor Greenwood, Regional Chair Burrows, Mayor Ted Luciani from Thorold, Mayor Barry Sharp, who sits to me at Regional Councilor, Mayor of Welland, Regional Councilor Henry D'Angela, and of course our MPP Kim Craven. A big hand for all of our guests. Now I'm not going to, for those of you that may or may not know, our junior B team, the Canucks, right now are competing with the Port Colborne Pirates. And we're a game up right now. Of course, Mayor Vance Badaway and I like to give each other the needles every day about what the latest is. So I said in my text the other day, I said, the good guys won. That's us, by the way. You know, and then he sends back and back, and we're back and forth. Well, I don't know if I have the courage to tell him, and I hope I can trust everyone here not to say anything. But we're already negotiating with Thorold a bet for the next series, so please don't tell him. Now, thank you for being here. And I'm going to try my very best to keep this tight because everybody has places to be, and I appreciate that. And we got started a little bit late, but I'm going to try to keep it interesting as well. And I'm going to add my little bit of humor. I hope you're okay with that. And you may not find it funny, but I do. and it just makes it a little bit easier for me here. So first off, we've acknowledged everybody, and I want to make one thing clear. You know, I don't always believe in right and wrong when you're making decisions. It's oftentimes effective and ineffective. And I believe our council, and I believe at the region, I'm seeing it happen as well. And there's our good-looking council. Hey, there's a good-looking council. How about a big hand for that handsome council? Great advice that I received from our former mayor, Bill Smeaton, and former regional councilor and a current judge, citizenship judge. As I put that chain on, he said, Jim, it will get heavier with time. So thank you for that advice, Bill. The key that we always say is debate the issue, not the person. We don't want to get into arguments. We want to move forward. We want to have effective decisions. And that is the key, that we row the boat together. Because if one side rows, your boat goes in circles. Both sides need to row, and you need to row at the same time. Does that make sense? All right, now just before I move on, I want to make sure everybody's awake and everyone speaks English. Does that make sense? Okay, thank you. Now, for this to be an effective speech, right, not good or bad, but effective, I need your participation. So what I need you to do is, if you agree, just give me a little bit of this. If you disagree, just do the eyebrow thing, like, what are you talking about? Boos are okay, cheers are okay, but I just need to know you're awake. Is that fair? Is that fair? I got Parker booing me here. Psychology, Tim, psychology. Imagine Niagara Falls being the city that you know it can be. Imagine Niagara Falls, and we're going to give you some examples, but imagine Niagara Falls, your home, but only better. Moving Niagara Falls to the next level. And as you look at the screen, you see the skyline. Niagara Falls has come a long way in the last 10 years. And I can tell you, I've been recently with the American politicians on the other side of the river, and they are very open and honest with how they feel about things. They said, we just point to your side of the river and say, you guys are doing it right. And they are not shy about the fact that they're very impressed with what we've done. And yet we're on this side saying, we can do so much more. We're on our side pointing to Las Vegas and saying, look what they did. And we're looking at other communities, look what they did. Well, we've got something that no other community can brag about. We've got the falls. We have an icon. We've got canals. We've got rails, trails. We've got really Great Lakes. our proximity to the U.S., the richest country on the planet, our proximity to the GTA, the richest area in the country. We've got a skilled labor force. We have so many reasons for us to be successful. We shouldn't be focusing on scratching our way to the middle. We should be setting our targets much higher. And yes, we've done well, but it's time to move forward. We don't want to be following followers. We want to be setting the trends. I want to tell you, oftentimes people give you statistics, and I said this once before, that statistics are a lot like a bikini, right? They tease and they tantalize you, but they hide what's really important. You're here for bikinis. Thank you, RMDP, for that comment. The point wasn't bikinis. But it's asking the right questions. And I can recall before being addressed by the media saying, does the city of Niagara Falls put raw sewage into the environment? I said, well, no. As a city council, I said, no, we don't do that. And then our staff said, well, actually, yeah, we do. We do that. And I said, we do? Yeah. Well, why didn't you tell us that? We did. It was in the report. Where's the report? I'll send you a copy of it. And it read something like this. During wet weather events, heavy particulate is discharged into the local tributaries. And I said, what does that mean? It means that we put raw sewage into the streams. And then I started to realize, you've got to ask the right questions. The information's there, but it's about asking the right questions. In a similar situation, the hospitals. The big argument of why would you want an investigation or a review of the hospital system? There's been 9 of them. Why would you want another one? Does that make sense? The truth of the matter is there's never been one since the hospital improvement plan was created and implemented. Never one. So it's about asking the right questions. You have to dig a little deeper. You have to dig into that heavy particulate a little bit, if you know what I mean. And I just wanted to share a little story. Last week at this time, I just finished having my very first, a lot of firsts for me. First 100 days, first day to the city. It was my first colonoscopy. It was a big day for me. I know you're reading it. I'm sorry. And the point of it was, that day, I can promise you, I was not full of heavy particulate. That day. My approach is a smorgasbord approach. Whether you're a developer, whether you're a tourist, whether you're a resident. And what I mean by that is we bring out the full banquet. And the vegetarians will eat the vegetables, the carnivorous eaters will go after the meats, and everybody will get satisfied. I believe you need to give everybody what they need to be successful and to be happy. And I just want to start off with a little story, if that's okay. Can I tell a little story? All right. I'm going to ask you questions once in a while to make sure you're listening. There will be a test when we're done. The story is about the Chinese bamboo. The Chinese bamboo. You take a little seed, you plant it, you water it, you fertilize it for a whole year, and nothing happens. The second year, you water it, fertilize it, and again, nothing happens. The third year, same thing. The fourth year, same thing, and it becomes very frustrating. Would you agree? Would you agree? Just humor me, just for a little bit. I'll cut it short if you do. The fifth year, you continue to water and fertilize the seed, and then something magical starts to happen during the fifth year. The Chinese bamboo sprouts and grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. And the point of it was the first 5 years a waste of time, or was that preparing for the 90 feet sprout of the bamboo? And that's a rhetorical question. You don't have to actually answer it. But the point is, we're doing a lot of things today, and the results are going to show themselves. It's going to become very evident that we're on a path of prosperity, and the best years for Niagara Falls have yet to come. Now, I also want to thank, there's a lot of staff from the city that are here today to support the speech, and I appreciate that, because behind a successful city are quality employees, and we've got some of the best staff, and they're here amongst us tonight. I appreciate it. If you give them a hand. You know, once somebody said to me before, they said, you know, Jim, you're loquacious. You know, and I said, thank you. I didn't know what loquacious meant. And so I went home and looked it up. It said verbal diarrhea, and I thought, I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not, but I know I do talk a lot, and I apologize right up front for being loquacious. And I don't mean to talk about all the bowel comments either, so I'll apologize right now. Now you see the beautiful landscape of our city, the wonderful growth. We're going to touch on visitor, tourism, and branding right now. Now many people know we're experts in hospitality. We've had unprecedented gains in the last 10 years. Our skyline is amazing. You can see it from the QEW. You can see it when you're coming from Buffalo, from Toronto. It's a pretty amazing sight to actually have a recognizable skyline. And in Niagara Falls, the private sector outpaces the public sector by 2 to 1. So the government puts in a casino worth $1 billion, the private sector puts in $2.5 billion. And that's why it looks like it does today. And you know, we say oftentimes we don't need more people, we just need them to stay a little bit longer. And how do we do that? We need to work on the Niagara Falls brand. I see myself as the chief brand manager. I want to tell you a story. You see the shower head on the screen? Here's my little story. And I was in Hawaii a couple of years ago, and I looked up at the shower head, and it said Niagara. I'm in Hawaii, and I see Niagara. And at first I thought to myself, I was kind of proud. And then I thought, I felt ripped off. Because I knew they didn't pay a royalty. And I knew they appreciated the brand of Niagara better than even we did. We take it for granted. You know, I just had a Chinese delegation the other day, and the vice chairman of China here, with a number of Chinese diplomats. And they said to us, Niagara Falls is much more famous than any other city in Canada, even Toronto. There's places in the world to tell them where Toronto is, you have to say it's near Niagara Falls. It's true. And it doesn't matter where you go in the world. And someone in Hawaii appreciated our brand more than we do. And I think what we need to do is take advantage of what we have. It's the most valuable thing that we have. Matter of fact, I often say, we treat ourselves like cola, when really, we should be treated like Coca-Cola. You know, you never see, yeah, it's a commercial for Coca-Cola now. The real thing. You never see a Disney water shower head, but you see it. You won't see a Coca-Cola one unless they pay, but you'll see one for Niagara Falls. What we need to do is manage our brand. As a matter of fact, I was approached recently by some business people that want to bottle water and call it Niagara and sell it around the world because they appreciate the brand of Niagara. So we're going to work on a proposal that will involve a royalty for this city. So if we're going to market the name and let you use the brand, it's going to cost you. We're going to start with the sugar, yeah. That's laughing over there. Don't be shy, everybody. Thank you very much, Dad. I appreciate it. Disney World does it well. They're the young person's capital. Las Vegas does it well. And if we could get people to spend a little more time, and what's one of our brands that we're known for? Honeymoon capital. Some people have asked, you know, why are you spending so much effort to get Prince William and Kate here? And we are. We're spending a lot of effort. Because would you agree with me that would help entrench our reputation of being honeymoon capital of the world? They're pretty famous. They're a pretty famous couple. Yeah. You know, by developing more festivals and more events, our Winter Festival of Lights was called one of the 100 top festivals this year. We're very proud of. You know, when you look around, even a little town of Port Dover, who has over 100,000 motorcycle enthusiasts coming to town every Friday the 13th with huge economic impact. And it doesn't cost Port Dover anything. There are a lot of great opportunities for Niagara Falls. They don't have to cost us. We need to focus on promoting the destination. Promote Niagara Falls, and when the tourists get here, they'll decide where they're going to stay, where they're going to eat, what they're going to visit. Promote the destination, and I'm looking forward to all the powers that be in our tourism industry come together to promote Niagara Falls and Niagara, rather than individual property A and B, and as it goes. One of the big areas we need to focus on now is the War of 1812, but not the war, because some of our American friends don't really appreciate the outcome of what happened. So let's celebrate peace. It's 200 years of peace. It's the world's largest unmilitarized border. That's what we need to celebrate. And next year's going to be a big year. I know that we've got Brian Merritt in the room who's heading up this whole bicentennial event, and we're very thrilled to be taking part in it. There's a lot of historical tourism. We've got the Asian invasion. China, India, and Brazil, 3 very large emerging markets. And now that we've achieved ADS, approved destination status within China, folks, it's a big deal. There's 110 million traveling middle class in China. And when they come, it's not going to be for a half hour, take a shot and keep going. They're going to come for several days, and that several days, that will have a big impact on our local economy. Another thing we're working hard for is a new theater. That'll have 7,000 to 8,000 people. And I can tell you, our staff here at the city are working diligently. We've already met with the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Association, the OLG, with Falls Management Company, FMC. We've met with the casino. We've met with private investors. We're going to work hard because we found out that the study shows the economic impact to Niagara Falls could be as big as the casino is to us today. So we're going to work very hard. And we've also been told that Americans will cross the border for the right entertainment. So can you imagine the right venue where we can bring in the Celine Dion's, the Faith Hills, the Cirque du Soleil, the list goes on, because with that size of the theater, we can bring in all of the big acts. Bruce Springsteen. You know, people will be saving their concert tickets for years. Remember that concert we went and saw in Niagara Falls? The talent will be great, and it will be very, very successful. Also, I know we've got Carrie Painter, the head of our new convention center, in the room, which will be opening up in a couple of short weeks. Are we excited about finally having our convention center? 180,000 square feet, able to host up to 10,000 guests, 22 million in room revenue, 70% of which will happen during the shoulder season. After the summer, when we need people, we have the rooms, we just need the people to come outside of the main season, which is the summertime. You know, we have built it, and they will come philosophy, and I'll tell you, my experience going to conventions, and I've been to many, I will bring my family with me if it's a good destination. Would you agree with that? If it's in Orlando, I'm bringing the family. It's just the way it is. If it's in Niagara Falls, they will bring the family, which means spousal programs will thrive, which means the spouse will go to the spas. The spouse and the kids will go visit our tourist attractions and amenities. There's a lot of advantages. This is, as we call, the missing link. And what it will also help to do, that and the theater, will help us with year-round employment, not just seasonal employment. Here I am. This was last week. I'm sure everyone recognizes that guy in the room, and the guy making all the noise in the front row, our NPB, Kim Crater. And we have expressed the interest of getting Niagara Falls on the radar of the province. And this picture, let me explain real quick, because there's some people wondering what that picture is. I, along with my brother, we make supersata, which is a sausage. Well, Minister Club Italia was in town for a conference recently, and the conference, she made fun because I anglicized her name, and instead of Club Italia, I said Club Italia. And the conversation went to, well, next time to make up for it, I'll bring in one of my supersatas. Well, we're at the Heritage Dinner in Toronto. I had one wrapped up, as she walked in, I handed it to her. Just so you know, that is a supersata that I'm handing the Minister of Economic Development and Trade. And also to make the point that we have a very good relationship with upper levels of government, and they know that Niagara Falls has the potential to help Ontario come right out of this recession. We're already on our way out, and Niagara Falls is going to lead the way. And how are we going to do it? Tourism. There's Minister Chan. He was in my office just recently talking about our tourism initiatives. He understands very, very clearly that Niagara Falls is the playground for Ontario. And there's a picture of some of our Chinese delegates and ambassadors that were here the other day as well. So they recognize what we have here. We need to recognize it. How are we going to do that? We're going to create an entrepreneurial atmosphere to create jobs. You see, because the government's job is not to create jobs. Government's job is to create an environment, a fertile environment for the entrepreneurs to emerge and create incubating opportunities for budding entrepreneurs to be successful. And that's why it's important that we create an atmosphere, because people that are employed with good jobs, with good benefits, are happier. They're happier at home. You know, there's a saying that most problems can be taken care of with a check. There's some truth to that saying, meaning that if we can empower people and put them in a better position, we're going to have happier families, happier employees, happier employers, and it's going to be easier to give better customer service when everyone's on the same page. Something else I learned is what's good for Niagara Falls is good for St. Catharines, what's good for Welland is good for Port Colborne, and so on. I'll give you the example. When I was campaigning, going door to door, store to store, and gate to gate, one of the factory gates that I went to, which there's not a lot of factory gates anymore, was a company called Minix. Minix is a call center in Niagara Falls for Apple computers. And by the way, they're the most successful, #1 customer rated call center in the world for Apple computers. And it's right here in Niagara Falls. So successful, in fact, that they've gone from a few employees to well over 500 in a few short years. And we work very closely with them to address some of their transportation concerns, etc. But that's not the point of why I'm bringing Minix up. The point is, when I was meeting the employees as they were leaving, 2/3 of them were not from Niagara Falls. And at first I was a little disappointed. You're not voters. Well, that's not good. Yeah, that was with my outside voice, I'm sorry. But then I realized, the good news is, that means 2/3 of GM's employees don't live in St. Catharines. And the list goes all the way around the region. And I realized what's good for Niagara Falls is good for everyone else in the region. And we need to think less parochial and more as a region, because if we work together, we can really, really put Niagara on the map. 73% of all employees in the Niagara region work for companies, work for small business. 73% work for small business with 10 or less employees. 98% work for businesses with 50 or less employees, which tells me small business, small, medium business is where it's at. And we need them to be very successful. And if you look at the recession from when it started, the end of 2008 to today, where we're coming out of it, the most successful group that did most of the hiring was small and medium business. And that tells you where it's at, grassroots. And that's why I love the people in this room, because you represent exactly that business demographic. The indicators are clear that what we need to do is help that group. Because if every small business hired one more employee, there wouldn't be enough people to go around for those jobs. So let's work with the small business, let's reach out to them, and let's help them. One of the ways that I'm going to push hard at the region is to lower the industrial tax rate. Because right now, one of our challenges, I just had the Canadian Federation of Independent Business in to visit me yesterday. They've got all the national figures. Let's not look at our little bubble of Niagara Falls or our bubble of the Niagara region or Ontario. Let's look at the country and beyond. Compare ourselves to the rest of the world. And I can tell you, just in this country, our rates are extremely high for industrial taxes. If you were a small business and you wanted to locate somewhere, it would be a disadvantage. The provincial average is 1.5 to 1, which means for every $1 you pay in residential property taxes, an industrial business pays $1.50. That's the provincial average. Here in Niagara, it's 2.5 to 1, which means you pay considerably more. And business, let's face it, business, they're here to make money, not friends. Would you agree? And they're going to do the bottom line. And the triple net bottom line means, are they going to make money here in Niagara? We need to address that. And I know that everyone at the region, we're on the same page. It's something that we're going to do. Green energy. I can tell you right now, we've got a very interesting situation putting itself together in Niagara Falls. And I'm looking forward. I was hoping tonight we could make a couple of the announcements, but we're not quite ready. And I don't want to be guilty of premature speculation, but we are going to be making, it's your mind's eye. It was my joke and it was your mind. But we are going to be opening a biodiesel plant in Niagara Falls with the most state-of-the-art R&D in the country. We're currently working on partnering up with post-secondary education to make this not just an industry, but an industry attached to education. And we're looking at both the college and the university. We're putting a proposal together right now. It's going to be very, very exciting. So it's going to create new jobs, green energy jobs, and good paying jobs with benefits. And I think we have a lot of opportunities to remediate some of the old factories that we have right now. So that's a lot of good news, and I can't wait to make that announcement. Well, I kind of made it, but I didn't. I gave you a little bit of information, but not enough. And at the region, I do want to mention, I'm very, very proud that in our first 100 days at the region, what a great atmosphere taking place in the region. I accused the region when I was running for office of being a big fat cat. And there's a lot of waste and a lot of opportunities, because where they're challenged, there's opportunity. Well, I'm happy to say that we have just had one of the largest tax cuts at the region in the province. We've reduced our water wastewater rates. We're investigating our NEDC, Niagara Economic and Development Corporation. We've approved by 24-3 the hospital investigation for the hip, and we're about to lift the public delegation ban at the region. All this has happened so far in the first 100 days at the region. Some good news. Youth, I want to talk about youth for a minute. You know, I went to university and I came back. I don't know what it is about Niagara Falls boys. We come home, we like the cooking, I think. But we have a challenge. Students that leave looking for better jobs, greener pastures, and do we blame them? Of course not. So what are we going to do to retain and attract our youth? We have to give them opportunities. And how better than to have great jobs and opportunities? And right now, I'd like to invite, I'm very happy to say, and I ask that you give them a warm welcome. We have the Mayor's Youth Advisory. We're going to have come up to the stage right now. Now, I just want to tell you something about these guys. You don't have to hold it up yet. Hold on. Secret surprise. We want them to stay. And these students you're looking at are the leaders of tomorrow. They're going to be running our cities and our businesses tomorrow. These are some of the brightest in the province and in the country. And I mean this sincerely. When you look at some of the awards, bursaries, and some of the incredible accolades they're receiving by universities, these students are the best of the best, and they're advising us on youth issues, including, you know, they were the drive behind eliminating plastic beverage bottles at our city facilities. They started Battle the Bands, which has created a beautiful relationship amongst all the high schools. They've established Green Weeks, which include local planting of trees, street cleanups. These are the students that are advising us on the issues of tomorrow. Big hand for our Mayor's Youth Advisory. Now they have a message that they'd like to give to everybody in the room. Part one of that message, please, Mayor's Youth Advisory, would you please lift your signs? Wait for it. And flip it around. Thank you very much to the Mayor's Youth Advisory for being here today, for taking time out of their days, skipping school. For coming here to, thanks very much, folks. Appreciate you guys coming up here. And recognizing the need for youth, I can tell you this. We are aggressively pursuing post-secondary educational satellite campuses to be here in Niagara Falls. We're already having discussions, I can tell you this much. And of course, we give first crack at our local schools, our local colleges, and I appreciate we've got Dan Patterson here today, president of Niagara College, and it shows you where his head's at, you know, that he appreciates the importance of being tied in and integrated to business and politics in the area, and he's here today, and I taught a course in entrepreneurship for him this past year, and what an outstanding experience. And what I'm here to tell you is I see the excitement around that campus. They're one of the top campuses in this country, fastest growing, top student satisfaction, I think 5 years running. And there's a reason for it, because they plan to be there. What a vibrant campus and relevant. They're creating programs before there are jobs for them, because they realize you have to commercialize. As opportunities become commercialized, you need to have people to fill those jobs. And so it takes years of planning. They're already steps ahead. I can tell you I've had meetings with Jack Lightstone as well at Brock University. Same thing. We're working on a program together, and the same thing. We have to plan years out. It's like the Chinese bamboo. It doesn't happen in one night. It takes years of planning, and that's a classic 5-year example. Well, I can tell you, what do we have? And I'm going to tie this together a little bit. We've got a brand. Niagara Falls, known in every corner of this planet. Matter of fact, I was kidding. I had a meeting with one of the VPs of Niagara College one day, and I said, you know, looking at your brochure and your advertisements, if I'm an international student coming from India, I'd swear the campus is right next to the falls. That's no accident, folks, because Mr. Patterson appreciates the value. That's right. And Dave's here with him too, and Dave Taylor, he's laughing too, because he knows what I'm talking about is true. So what we've said, we've been approached by universities in Europe and around our country. We said, how would you like to have a campus with Niagara Falls in it? So when you market it, you can say Niagara Falls. And just think of what this will do. We bring in educated, we bring in youth, we bring in post-secondary educational opportunities, we bring in research and development right here in Niagara Falls, and a lot of them are going to take up roots, they're going to live here, they're going to start families here. Just imagine where this is going to go. It's going to be a very exciting time as this Chinese bamboo grows. Transportation, we're going to have to get these people around. How are we going to do it? Has anyone ever noticed our buses are usually half empty around the city? How would you like them to look like that bus? This is just to kind of break up the boring presentation. The truth is, oftentimes people say to me, our buses are half empty. I said, we know, let's fill them up. They say, get rid of them. I said, how about filling them up? Let's go the other direction. Imagine a city that's bustling with a full year-round GO train right to Niagara Falls. Imagine what that will do for the city of Niagara Falls. You know, I often say, I watched my dad for 30 years drive to Toronto, work right downtown. One of my brothers, I watched him do it for quite a few years. My brother-in-law works right downtown for one of the big banks, but he lives in Oakville. He went to where the GO was. And it makes sense, because you can't risk being late for work. You can't risk the wasted time on the highway. It's unproductive every day, there and back. There and back. Whereas on a train, you can read the paper, use your BlackBerry, talk on the phone, you can sleep, you can do whatever you want to do. And with having the GO train come right to Niagara Falls, it'll be like an umbilical cord into the GTA. I had some people say, well, boy, that will be a bedroom community. And I said, yeah, so you mean the people making $300,000 and $400,000 a year will spend it here? Geez, that sounds like a real terrible situation to be in. Because a lot of people move to where the transportation corridor is. That's why, in my mind, it's number one to connect. And especially with Niagara Falls, New York, Obama announcing recently about rapid transit going right to New York City, high-speed trains. We need to connect with them. So we have a little bit of a challenge. There's a canal in the way. Yeah, there's a canal, you know that little canal, and here's the situation. They're telling us it's going to take $1 billion to build a bridge or a tunnel because ships are federal, trains are, they're on different levels. Ships have got priority over trains. So we should build a $1 billion bridge. I said, you've got to be kidding. For 8 trains a day, we're going to build a $1 billion bridge? We can't hire an engineer and plan this out? So, well, that's just the way it is, because we just can't do it any other way. So I'm here to tell you that if air traffic controllers can handle thousands of international flights a day from every angle, you think we can handle 8 trains a day for 8 months out of the year? Our MPP in the front row just gave me a look. I won't tell you what that look was. I think we can find a solution. What I'm here to tell you is we have another meeting on the 31st. We're meeting with the St. Lawrence Seaway. We're meeting with the people at the rail. We're going to find a solution because all it takes is one creative solution. Our people mover system, we're almost there. We had another meeting yesterday. We're almost there. We've been working with the industry, the tourism industry. We're working with the Parks Commission and the city to put together a spectacular people mover system. Now, what you see up there, the monorail, that'll be the second stage. That'll be the sexy stage. Right now, we're going to start with buses, just so you know. But I want you to imagine what it's going to look like down the road, where people are going to want to take a picture of this rail system that connects the 3 casinos. I'm looking forward. So what I want to tell you is, we are almost there. We're so close because, and it's going to be fully integrated, which means whether you're going to visit, whether you're going to work, you should be able to get on any one of our buses. It should be seamless. You should be able to go from Niagara Square to Table Rock to Marineland and downtown. It should be completely seamless, and it will be. You'll be buying one ticket, you'll be able to go anywhere, and that's the way we're designing the system to be in the city. And that's a good thing. We want to make our community better. You know, people used to say to me at our arena, they'd be at Memorial Arena, and they'd say, "Where's your nice arena, your good one?" And I'd say, "This is it. This is the one." And then I had one girl come up to me with a yellow on her shirt. She goes, "Do you know what that is?" And I said, "I don't. What is it? Mustard?" She said, "No, it's rust from the roof. It fell down on me at one of the games." And it was embarrassing, horribly embarrassing. Well, now, with a beautiful Gale 4-pad, the generosity of Bob Gale helping us out, who's here today too, we're grateful to have him in our community. And now, people come here, they're proud, because people have expectations of Niagara Falls. Now, people want to bring their tournaments here again. Now, if you've got different kids on different ice surfaces, you can watch them at the same time. It's going to give a better quality of life for everybody. And by removing the outdated arenas, there's going to be operational savings. Because now all the staff are in one area. The refrigeration equipment is all in one area. The Zambonis are all in one area. It's going to make for operational savings, and it's going to be better for the city. So facilities like McBain Center, Gale Center, it's going to help to attract this creative class, people that want to live in a nicer city. Now, these are some of the pictures of the Gale Center, and one of the advantages, we were able to host the Canadian national junior team, who took away silver this past year. Here we are on the ice, having some of the top hockey names of tomorrow right in our backyard. And they came here part and parcel because of the facility that we offer. And they told us. And we had some international figure skaters said, "This ice is as good as any ice anywhere in the world." And that's pretty neat to be proud of, that we have this in our backyard. Are you proud of your new facilities? I'm glad, because you're going to start paying for it this year. That's good. You know, the other thing we need is more festivals, more reasons to come to our downtown. Our downtown, would you agree with me, looks a lot different than it did just a few years ago. Folks, look around. I mean, you know, we had one of our major employers downtown. They were leaving the city because their employees did not feel safe in our downtown. They were embarrassed of our downtown. You know, they just renewed a long-term lease to stay downtown. Is that great news? That is great news for Niagara Falls. And it's because of what we're doing downtown. We've got to attract the creative class, attract the people that like culture. We have to be more creative, more artistic. We've got Springalicious. Rick Rose has his music festival. The Winter Festival played Candlelight Stroll, Santa Claus Parade. We've got a lot of neat things, and we will also, and I can't wait till the day when we've got one of our satellite university or college campuses right downtown Niagara Falls, because that's what we need, people living downtown. And the same with Main and Ferry. It's a main area for the Battle of 1812 celebrations, and again, as I say, celebrating peace. And it's wonderful that people are starting to go to these areas to shop. Beautiful flower shop opened up there, wonderful bakery opened up, Bella's Bakery. There's a lot of rehabilitation and redevelopment happening in that area. And gentrification, people are moving back into the areas that they ran away from before. So many opportunities. Want to talk at our museum? Absolutely, will be finally, and a show of hands, to be honest, I don't know, how many people have been to our museum already once before? How many people? Not too many people. And this is part of the problem. This is what I said to the manager. I said, here's the problem. Nobody knows you're one of the best kept secrets in the city. People don't even know you're there. You're storage for old stuff. Well, this is going to be interactive, educational. It's going to reach out. It's going to act as a catalyst for the Main and Ferry area. And we're very appreciative of the support from other levels of government to make this a reality in time for the celebrations of 1812. And you will all, I'm sure, be there for the grand opening. Let's talk about our hospital. We've already touched on it. The hospital, we've got real serious challenges. And I'm happy to say that our MPP Crater here is working very hard. He's arranging a meeting with us and our health minister. And I can tell you, we don't have any announcements yet, but we're working diligently to have those announcements. And I'm so proud of Regional Council for their vote of 24-3 to ask for an investigation. Wrapping up here, folks. You know, giving back. A happy community, when people are successful, when they're profitable and prosperous, they tend to give back. There's a quote from Ted Turner. He said, "Average sex is better than being a billionaire." Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything, but I thought you'd appreciate that. point of that is nothing other than the point of the quote. I thought it was a good quote. People will contribute more to the community, and they'll realize it's not all about taking it with you, because if you figure out a way to take it with you, let me know. But in the meantime, people will be judged. You'll be judged on what difference you made and how you impacted your community. I challenge you to reach out and get involved. Volunteer somewhere. I tell all the kids at Mayor's Youth Advisory, best advice I'll give you, tell them two things. There's a lot of things I can tell you, but two main things. Get involved, get active, roll up your sleeve, get involved in your community, and network. Network like crazy. Because you can never have enough contacts. And today, it's so much easier than it used to be. Today with internet, like this, you're in touch with everybody. And I encourage them to do that, to get involved. And as well, how have we gotten involved as a city? Created a Civic Pride Award for people that help out in our community, where they get recognized. The unsung heroes, those people that cut the cul-de-sac, those people that pick up garbage at the park and along the trails, there's people doing it. Let's recognize them. We created a program called Snow Buddies, and that picture you see there, where seniors, who in this case here, we had 2 disabled seniors, they can't walk, shovel the ramp to get to their vehicle for their doctor's appointments, so they need help shoveling their walkways. We have students who need 40 hours of volunteer time to graduate from high school. We put them together under a program we call Snow Buddies, and now everybody, it's a symbiotic relationship. The seniors get their help, the juniors get what they need, and everybody benefits. And as well, we created a Coyote Watch Canada, where we had some challenges with coyotes, and people like to kid about the coyote situation, but it's not so funny when there's one in your backyard living in a rain barrel. And that's exactly what we had happen on Stevens Street. It was living in a rain barrel. An older lady didn't even know it was there. So we've created these things. We want you to give back. We want to encourage you. The city's leading the way. And customer service is the last thing I want to close with. And then with one last story on customer service. We've got a lot of great people that work at City Hall. We really do. It's the culture that's needed some help. It's the culture. They needed permission to give better customer service. I'll tell you right now, when you come to my office, what happens, or what's supposed to happen, as far as I know, it always happens. Right, ladies? You get offered a coffee, a tea, a cookie, a biscuit. No foot rubs, but we're working on that. But the point is, we want you to feel welcome. We want you to feel comfortable when you come into our office. And I'm very proud of our staff, because our CAO and HR departments have an ongoing effort with customer service training. They've made it a priority, because we realize we need to treat you like customers, not like subjects. We're here only because you pay your property taxes. We need to keep you happy, because in the real world of business, if you don't do that, you will not be in business. And we want to be here because we're giving you great service, not because we have to be here. We're streamlining procedures. We're cutting red tape. We're creating a one-stop shopping environment where it'll be easier to open up a business. It'll be easier to get your answers. We're making everything accessible at City Hall as well. And we've created a set of corporate values: accountability, teamwork, leadership, and respect. And we're living that. And the CAO has had these put up in all the main meeting rooms so everybody understands it's a mutual respect. We work together. We're going to get much further ahead if we work together. And over the next 6 months, I am challenging myself. I am going to work in those different departments in the city. I am going to work on some of the front lines and find out what it's like to be one of the staff dealing with members of the public. I'm going to be at these different offices doing what they do, finding out firsthand what needs to happen. And I'll tell you, sometimes I might be in a disguise. You might not know that it's me. That's good. I like that effect. I don't know how you got that creative. That's great. But I'm going to find out firsthand what needs to happen. Does everyone see that picture on the screen? That's my face, by the way, in that disguise. Somebody got very clever with some Photoshop. I don't know. But they're going to get fired later. Also, some of our staff, we want to catch our staff doing things right. For example, one of our staff off duty was at the arena, and a kid was choking on a hot dog. He didn't skip a beat. He jumped in, did the Heimlich maneuver, and it's so casually. We want to acknowledge people doing things right. So we got a call about some of our staff. There was a woman who fell down when she was taking out her garbage. She couldn't get up. They saw her. They pulled over. They helped her back into her house. And they were so casual about it. And I said, no way. I'm sorry. We're not going to let this fade away. We want everyone to know. We've got great people doing great things. We want to catch them doing things right. We want to praise progress. We want to praise success. You know, we had one of our staff in the clerk's department, a fellow had lost his wife. He was very, very, very upset about it. He couldn't contain himself. And she came around the counter, you know, and consoled him and helped him fill out the documents that he needed. And he called me, he says, I want you to know, I was so, and in his tears, he goes, how I felt. He goes, I'm touched that I would get treated that way. And I made sure that the head of the department knew, and I asked our CEO to share with everyone, let them know. We've got some great people, let's catch them doing things right. How about a big hand for all the people sitting out? And our website, lastly, our website, and I'm going to end off with my story now. That's our new website. It's going to be launched very soon, much more user-friendly and tuned in. Facebook, Twitter, it's going to be active. We're going to have blogs, video streaming. It's going to be the way it should be, not a website of yesterday, a website of tomorrow. Because today, people reach out, we got to be in tune with the times. If we want Niagara Falls to be treated like Coca-Cola, we need to act like it's Coca-Cola. And in closing, I know I've had some people kid me about Niagara Falls, you know, one industry town, it's just tourism, we've lost our traditional industry and whatnot. I said, you know, we should be grateful that we have the industry of tourism. Let's turn it from seasonal to year-round. Let's enhance it. Let's use it like a magnet. Because some people have seen this as our weakness, that we're a one industry, so they call it. We have more than tourism. But that's our main, that we're known for industry. And so there's a little story I want to share with you that can show you how sometimes your biggest weakness can become your biggest strength. And I'll close with this story. There was a 10-year-old boy whose left arm was damaged and subsequently was amputated. He decided he wanted to learn judo. His sensei, his teacher, was an old Chinese judo expert. And the boy, he learned very quickly. After 3 months, he learned only one move. He asked his teacher to teach him more moves. In the sense, he told him that was all that he would need. Soon after, the boy entered a tournament where he quickly advanced to the finals, where his opponent was bigger and more experienced. The boy seemed very outmatched, but after a long match, the opponent seemed to lose his concentration. And quickly, the boy took advantage and pinned what seemed to be his superior opponent. On the ride home, the boy said to his sensei, "How could I win with only one move?" And the sensei replied, "You have nearly mastered one of the most difficult moves in all of judo. And the only defense against that move is for your opponent to grab your left arm." Sometimes your biggest weakness can become your greatest strength. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I hope it was a little bit entertaining. It's just my style. I appreciate you coming here. I'm hoping by the next one we're going to have some wonderful announcements. I don't have to just give you little tidbits and hints and snippets. I want to actually be able to make some big announcements. I appreciate everybody being here today. Have a wonderful day.